All right, it is the Sports Mashup number 63, May 11th. The date for this episode, recording it a bit earlier for full transparency, of course. We'll start in the National Basketball Association, which I think I'm just going to call it the National Basketball Association rather than the NBA. A little bit more flair on it when I say that, so I'm going to go with that. Suns head coach Monty Williams named the 2021-22 NBA Coach of the Year. I believe it was Tom Thibodeau last year. I believe Monty Williams got the second most votes last year. Gets it this year. Suns overwhelmingly regular season best team, 64 wins. So the obvious choice there really wasn't a standout guy against him other than Taylor Jenkins from the Memphis Grizzlies. But I just think the Suns had such a better record than the second best team in the entire league that they had to go with Monty Williams here. So the right choice, in my opinion, unbiased.
I thought it was just a couple episodes we said something about this, or he get named it for something else.
I think he was the NABC
Coach
of the year as well.
He was voted top coach by the Coaches Association 2 years in a row.
Yeah, so great honor for him. Great guy, great coach, and we'll see how they do. Tonight, technically when we're recording this, and then moving forward, but I'm not overly confident in it. But anyway, moving on. Steph Curry becomes the first player in NBA history to make 500 threes in the playoffs. Pretty impressive there. He's already got 3 rings. They look like, honestly, right now, the Warriors are the best team in the league the way they're playing right now. So they could add a 4th ring if they stay healthy. I wouldn't be surprised.
They also, they struggled last night.
Yeah,
he shot 4 of 14 from 3-point line. And they barely escaped the win without John Morant.
They've won 2 games, games 1 and 5 that the Warriors won. Klay Thompson was awful in those 2 games, and they won both. You got to think he'll be a little bit better moving forward.
Was it game 2 that Gary Payton got hurt?
Yeah.
So they had game 3 without Memphis, without Dillon Brooks, and then Ja got hurt that game.
Dillon Brooks has been horrendous in this series. I think he's something like 9 for 44 from the field and like 3 for 28 from 3. Like horrendous. So honestly, it was bad for the Warriors that he was suspended.
Well, game 2, he only played 3 minutes. And game 3, he didn't play.
Awful. Yeah, he's been bad. So, yeah. And speaking of the Grizzlies, they're kind of, I know they were great in the regular season without Ja, but this is the postseason. John Morant, doubtful for the rest of the playoffs with the bone bruise in the knee. They're down 3-1 in the series. You got to think they're done.
I think they looked good last night, though. They just made mistakes on the stretch when they had the lead.
Neither team could make shots. Like, they were horrible from 3, both of them, which I wish Dallas would be that way, but apparently Dallas turned into the Warriors from like 5 years ago with like 1 billion threes.
Hey, I had to admit that I made a mistake. Dorian Finney-Smith did not go to Florida. He went to Virginia Tech.
Is that right? I didn't know that. Dorian Finney-Smith completely went over my head as a player. Didn't even know he existed until a year ago.
Because there was some post I saw on Facebook or something. It was the best players. It was like in the NBA currently from the ACC, and Finney-Smith was Virginia Tech. Jason Tatum from Duke. Chris Paul from Wake. That dude from the Pelicans. The guy who got that deal. The scrappy point guard.
Jose Alvarado?
Yeah.
Georgia Tech?
Yeah. And then I forgot who Louisville's was.
Louisville NBA. Louisville. Donovan Mitchell?
No, I don't think so.
He's pretty legit. Anyway, moving forward.
And then watching the game last night, too, that game, I was like, where's Steve Kerr? And then I saw it was like just hours before the game he tested positive for COVID.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But they'll be fine.
Yeah, it's not like their assistant coach has never been a head coach before.
Yeah, they have Mike Brown behind the or on the bench. Isn't something I forgot to add in here? Mike Brown did sign a deal to be the head coach of the Sacramento Kings, so he's back to being a head coach. Mike Brown, former head coach, I believe, with Cleveland. So,
yeah, he's one of the guys I think LeBron had come in.
Yep, I think it was early.
But also last night you had a big game from the Celtics. Tatum and Horford each had 30. Tatum also had like 13 rebounds. Horford had 8.
Yeah, so you wrote here that the Bucks are missing Middleton. I think that's kind of how this is. Like later in the series you're going to miss the players that you're without more. Like they could survive early, but I still think the Bucks win this series. I really do. I just think that Giannis is unstoppable in the way that if he doesn't make the shot, he usually gets a foul call. So,
but the worst is he needs his other contributors to contribute.
Yeah, they need threes from Connaughton, and I think Wesley Matthews is still in rotation, and Bobby Portis, Brooke Lopez. So,
and Drew Holiday had a big. I think it was the game 3 or game 2. Drew Holiday had a big game.
I would argue that Drew Holiday is the biggest reason that they won the finals last year, because if it's just Middleton and Giannis, the Suns were playing so well in the first 2 games that I think the Suns could have beaten the Bucks if it was just Middleton and Giannis. But Drew Holiday making a lot of shots and playing the defense that he did on Chris Paul was I think the biggest difference.
Well, that play he made last night when he got in the lane or whatever, and then he turned around and act like he was shooting, but he threw the alley-oop to Brooke Lopez.
Yeah, I mean, he's a winning point guard. I think that's kind of the point guard you want in certain spots, and it makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
I think we talked about it a couple episodes ago how I think it was on JJ Redick's podcast. KD said that Drew Holiday is probably the best defender in the league.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, he's up there.
But currently, the Heat 76ers are playing. That series is tied at 2-2. Celtics and Bucks 2-2. Suns Mavs later tonight at 2-2. And Grizzly Warriors. Warriors are up 3-1. I think also the Heat are missing Kyle Lowry tonight.
Yeah, I didn't even see the score of that game as we're recording this. It is 81. Yeah, the Heat are up 15. It's pretty much, the game's probably over.
The Heat are up now?
Yeah, they're up 15.
Oh, last up when I saw the Sixers were up by like 10.
Well, NBA games flip a lot these days, but we'll see. We'll see how the Suns game goes tonight. Not overly confident with the way they played the last 2 games, but they obviously play a lot better at home. So we'll see if they can get that going. Let's go to the National Football League. Kyle Van Noy,
who we talked about a couple episodes when the Patriots released him again,
best known as being a Patriot, signs with the Chargers. I'm assuming it's a 1-year deal, so. Just added more veterans to the defense. Remember, they added Khalil Mack before the draft in the deal with Chicago, so they got those 2 on the edge. Secondary is good. You get Derwin James healthy. You got J.C. Jackson in there as well. They signed. That defense should be pretty legit. I don't really think there's any excuse for the Chargers to miss the playoffs this season.
No.
I don't care about their division. They're better than Denver. They're better than Vegas. And if Herbert is who we think he is, they could be better in the regular season than Kansas City.
I mean, they have good weapons outside with Mike Williams and why did I just blank on his name?
Keenan
Allen. And then they have Austin Eckler in the backfield. And then
I like their line too. Like they have an anchor, a tackle, and an anchor in the middle, which Rashawn Slater, last year's first-round pick, looks like a stud, and Corey Linsley in the middle.
Who's their tight end now?
Didn't they have?
They traded away Hunter Henry last year to the Patriots.
Yeah. Let's see. We're going to find out right here on their team website. Tight end, they have pretty much nobody. A bunch of nobodies. Oh, they have Gerald Everett. Okay, there you go. Gerald Everett's going to be the number 1, clearly.
So, I mean, that helps them. Who's their, slot receiver?
Slot. I did exit the thing. Oh, boy. They have some real nobodies in this roster. I guess it's a 53-man roster, so you're going to get what you're going to get. Let's see. They have Jalen Guyton, I think, is probably the slot guy at this point. 6'1", 212. I know he's a big speed guy. That's about it, though, in terms of legitimate slot. So yeah, they'll be good. No excuse to not make it to the playoffs. I don't care what their division looks like. Tom Brady inking a 10-year, $375 million deal with Fox for him to be the number one broadcast team on the number one broadcast team with Kevin Burkhardt once Brady retires. So interesting move here. Now you have CBS, Nance, and Romo. You have Fox with Burkhardt and Brady whenever that happens. You have NBC with Tirico and Collinsworth. You have Amazon with Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. And then you have ESPN with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So I like it. If I had to rank them right now, and I'm not going to rank Burkhardt and Brady, even though I love Burkhardt. I just don't know what's Brady going to be like for that. And whenever he does, it's probably 2 years from now, if I had to guess. I like Buck and Aikman. Put them 1.
That's the Monday night game, right?
Yeah. I'll put Tirico Collinsworth 2. I'll put Nance and Romo 3, and I'll put Al Michaels and Herbstreit 4, just because I don't know what Herbstreit's going to be like doing NFL games. But yeah, I think Nance and Tirico are great. I like Buck and Aikman. I like Buck more than Aikman, of course, but I do not like Romo at this point. I think he's very annoying, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think Nance kind of calms that down a little bit.
I think Nance probably gets annoyed with it as well. Gets a little bit much. I mean, it was all fun and games when he first started doing it, but at a certain point, it's enough.
No, I meant I think his voice kind of calms everyone away from Romo when he talks.
Speaking of Romo, 5 highest paid sports broadcasters when Brady's deal kicks in is Brady at $37.5 million, which is absurd. But if you're not going to get paid as much as you should while you're a quarterback, you might as well get the bag from a broadcast network because there's no salary cap in the broadcasting game. Jim Rome surprisingly makes $30 million a year, which is just unbelievable. But hey, more power to you, I guess. CBS is paying some big money here. Tony Romo obviously makes $18 million a year. Michael Strahan makes $17 million a year, which is very interesting considering he doesn't do games. And the fact that he makes $17 million a year is weird. I don't know if they're factoring in Good Morning America here, but I'm not sure. And then Stephen A. Smith for ESPN makes $10 million.
Yeah, because he just does like the Sunday show with Bradshaw and all those guys, right?
Yeah. So I don't know what those guys are making, but
he basically makes $1 million a week.
Pretty much, yeah. At this point, I guess it's 18 weeks technically, so I guess it's a little bit different. I guess I don't know. So shifting forward in the NFL,
Stephen A. Smith makes $10 million.
Yeah, ESPN. 4 NFL teams have above $20 million in cap space right now. The Panthers at 30.7, the Browns at 24.2, the Dolphins at 21.4, and the Texans at 20.9. The least amount of cap space in the entire league is the Niners at 143,000. So a big deal here is that the Deshaun Watson deal, I think, on the cap this year is only like $1 million. So that allows the Browns to have as much cap space as they do, but I don't think they're really going to use it. So moving right along, schedule release Thursday, May 10th is the NFL schedule release. And I don't care about any of that until we just see the full thing because I'm just ready for that. I don't care about leaks or anything.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we know is the 4 overseas games.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it. And we'll see. I mean, Monday Night Football, I think they're going to get some better games, especially with Buck and Aikman in there. Now you don't want them calling the usual stinkers that are on Monday night a lot of weeks. So hopefully they'll get better games.
And then you had Sonny Michel to the Dolphins. I believe it's on a 1-year deal to make a very deep, deep backfield. I mean, you got Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds, Myles Gaskins, Salvin Ahmed, and now Sonny Michel.
There's no overwhelming number 1 in that backfield. Like there's not. They got a good backfield, better than what they've had. That was a big issue for a lot of years there. So I think that's the big move here is that they're getting that done. So
I mean, I think the top 2 are Mostert and Edmonds.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt. And then I'd say Gaskin's probably your number 3, right?
That and Michel, depending on how they use them. I mean, Michel could be like the scat back, the third down back. But that could also be Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, it's true.
Because, I mean, that's when Chase Edmonds came in the league, that was his role.
Yep.
And then once again, 3 weeks from when you're hearing this is the match Brady Rogers, Mahomes, Allen at the Wynn Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah. On to golf. Big week in golf. Big week.
Yeah, the Wells Fargo Championship last weekend. The winner was Max Homa. Won 1.6 million. Shot 8 under. Tough conditions.
Oh, yeah. Our guy, Max, he's good in those conditions. Friend of the show, Max Homa, 4th win on tour. Congrats to Max, of course. 3 wins since the beginning of 2021, which is more than a lot of good golfers. And he's got 4 now.
And beat the 4-play scramble by himself.
Yep, that should probably be his fifth win, if I had to guess. I think the biggest thing with that is that he shot a 66 at a course he's never played against the 4-play scramble. So that was the most impressive thing from that for me. But shout out.
And then those guys lose to Bob Does Sports.
That's pretty bad. I guess I've never really seen those guys play golf, but
you've never seen him and Joey Cold Cuts?
I don't think so. No.
And then Jet, one of their third was their cameraman.
I try to keep
the guy his name's Fat Perez.
I try to keep my golf content on YouTube limited because I'd get it out of control if I didn't. But what can you do? So yeah, shout out to Max, big time win.
And then this weekend you have the AT&T Byron Nelson, defending champion is
KH Lee
at TBC Craig Ranch, McKinney, Texas.
All right, we'll make picks on that one later. Let's go to the Major League Baseball side of things. The Cardinals finally optioned shortstop Paul DeJong. AAA, he was struggling mightily, batting 130 with a 209 on base and a 208 slugging, 1 homer, 7 RBIs, and 86 plate appearances. Just a brutal start. It had to be done. Hopefully he can figure it out in Memphis.
A guy who was in the middle of the lineup last year, sometimes up in the top of the order, was then now batting 9th in the order, which last year was Bader's spot.
DeJong's a great defender, and that's about it at this point.
But he still doesn't have range to his throwing hand.
I would agree. And his bat is so bad that you had to do this. They called up Kramer Robertson from AAA. So I'm a big fan of Kramer. I mean, he hasn't had the best season in AAA, but we'll see how they use him, if they use him, because I know they started Brendan Donovan at shortstop tonight while they're getting pumped by the Orioles.
But you're either starting him or Sosa.
Yeah, Sosa is not back yet, but he will be back within the next few days. So, yeah. All right.
While we're on the Cardinals, we might as well. Welcome to the League Juan Yepes.
Oh, yeah, great start for him. He's actually, I believe, now 10 for 21 since you wrote this, just because they're playing right now.
This was including his 1 for 1 for today.
So, yeah.
He's 9 before, or I guess right after his first bet today, he was 9 for 19, 4 runs, 3 doubles, 1 homer, 3 RBIs, 1 walk.
He's been good. Everything I expected. Good hitter.
I mean, he was leading the minors, I think, in home runs when they got called up.
Him and Gorman were tearing the minor leagues up at Memphis.
And then the Mets moved DeGrom from the 10-day IL to the 60-day.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much expected because I think his timeline probably moves him to about near the All-Star break for him to come back. So this makes sense for the Mets, and they've been fine without him, so not really any worry.
It started out at the beginning of the year. He was on the 15-day, and he kept getting put on 10-day.
Yeah, they had to make a move here, and they've had some other pitcher injuries, so they had to do this, and it was expected. So,
hey, Boston scored. It's 1-4.
All right, and your guy Harrison Bader just hit a 2-run inside the park homer. So only 5-2 now, not dead, but there you go.
You can quit referring him to my guy.
He's good now, man. He is. He's good. Moving right along.
Player of the week. Who'd you have this week?
Rowdy Tellez, Brewers, 321 average, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, 1,100 OPS.
I took third baseman Manny Machado from the Padres in the last week. 10 for 25, 6 runs, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 5 walks.
I mean, Machado and Arenado are the clear 2 best third basemen in the NL, so that's That's a stat for you there.
I mean, just getting on base 15 out of 30 at bats.
That's legit. Yep. All right. National Hockey League, the draft lottery was tonight or yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this. The number 5 pick goes to the Philadelphia Flyers. The number 4 pick goes to the Seattle Kraken. Number 3 pick goes to the Arizona Coyotes. The number 2 pick, the New Jersey Devils jump up. And the Montreal Canadiens will pick number 1. This draft will be held in Montreal when they take Shane Wright from Kingston in the OHL with the first overall pick. And I'll tell you this right now, just for anybody who's a real hockey fan or follows hockey closely or the NHL closely, Arizona should take Logan Cooley at number 3, center out of Notre Dame. I don't think it makes as much sense for New Jersey, and Wright's going to go number 1 to Montreal. So if Cooley is there, it makes a lot of sense for Arizona. He's come on. He's been great. He's jumped up a lot of boards. I expect New Jersey, if they're going to go defense, to go with Simon Nemec, unless somebody jumps in, which would probably be Joaquin, what's his name, Joachim Kinnel, something like that. And then, or they could go, I mean, these names are ridiculous at the top of the draft. I think it's like Juraj Slavosky, who's a winger who could go number 2 as well. But the names at this top of the draft, after like the normal Shane Wright, is unbelievable what some of these names are. But let me just give one more thing here with the draft. Shane Wright's going to be a very, very good number 1 center, but he's not going to be a Crosby or a McDavid, because those guys come around every, like Crosby was what, 04, 05, something like that, and McDavid was 15. I think next year's draft, 2023, Connor Bedard is going to be the number 1 pick. That's a Crosby McDavid guy. So if you want to win the lottery, you want to win it next year, even though this year is really good too, especially in comparison to the last few years where it hasn't been as great. But yeah, there's your scoops in the NHL draft, and now we go over to the playoff side of things.
Yeah, this is before Tuesday night's games. Florida and Washington's tied up at 2-2, which is probably surprising everybody.
Yeah, I think the President's Trophy thing, it might be legit. I mean, the way that the way the President's Trophy teams struggle is just, it's insane every year.
And they've split it each place, right? It's been 1-1 at each.
I believe so, yes.
And then Carolina and Boston 2-2, looking like Carolina is going to pull out in Game 5. Toronto and Tampa's tied up 2-2. Pittsburgh up 3-1 on the Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers defensively are an absolute disaster right now. They are leaving Igor Shesterkin out to dry at an insane rate. By the way, it's 2-1 Tampa right now in Game 5 against Toronto with 17:45 to go in the third. So there's that.
Colorado swept Nashville 4-0.
Yeah, it's expected.
What was it? Was it Game 1 that went to overtime, or 2 when it was like a 1-0
game? Game 2. Connor Ingram had a ton of huge saves. Colorado should have won the game about 15 different times.
Minnesota, St. Louis tied up at 2. Calgary, Dallas tied up at 2, and Edmonton and the Kings tied up at 2.
2 more things here. Barry Trotz, Islanders head coach, fired. Surprising news there. They made it to the conference finals 2 years in a row. They missed the playoffs this year due to a lot of different things, whether it's not playing a home game till mid-November because of their arena, or the COVID issues where they had a ton of players that couldn't play, but the NHL refused to shut them down. But Trotz is out. I expect him to end up on his feet. If he wants to keep coaching, he could go to Detroit or Chicago or anywhere that has an opening, Winnipeg. So he'll get a job if he wants it. And then I found the piece of paper with my NHL futures for this season, and I only hit, as of right now, on 3 of them. One of them still up in the air, but I highly doubt it happens. I had the Jets plus 4,500 to win the Cup. Missed the playoffs. Blues plus 5,000 to win the Cup. I don't think that's going to happen, but it was good value. The Hurricanes to get 100-plus points. Hit that. That was plus 145. Islanders plus 270 to miss the playoffs. Nailed it. Canucks plus 170 to make the playoffs. Did not get that. Patrice Bergeron under 34.5 goals. Hit that. I think he had 27. Patrick Kane over 31.5 goals. Did not hit that. And then I missed all of these. It was Leonard to win the Vezina. Panarin to win the Hart. Ovechkin plus 1,200 as the top goal scorer. Pietrangelo plus 2,000 to win the Norris. Jeremy Swayman plus 2,200 Calder. That's not going to hit. And Alex Newhook plus 2,500 to win the Calder. That's not going to hit either. So
you bet against Bergie?
I mean, I got it. I 30, whatever the number was. What did I say? 31.5? That or 34.5? That seemed like an extremely high number.
He's probably got like double that in assists.
Exactly. I wouldn't bet against him in assists, but goals, yeah, especially when Marchand's going to get a lot of goals. Pasternak's going to get a lot of goals.
And I saw in this series they keep putting Stahl's line out against that line.
Yeah, I see that. By the way, the Leafs just tied it. It's 2-2. So things getting interesting in Toronto.
There's 5 minutes left in this game, and the Bruins are already empty net, so
it's over. Yeah. All right, let's go to the picks here.
Last week I went 7-4,
6-3 for me.
1-1 in the NBA, 1-1 in the NHL, 3-2 in MLB, and then I hit on 2 golfers. I had Rory to finish top 10. He finished 5th. I had Max Homa top 5. He won it. And then I had Matthew Fitzpatrick to win. He tied for 2nd, shooting 6 under.
Pretty good. I had 2-3 in Major League Baseball, 2-0 in both the NBA and the NHL, and I had Max Homa to win. Nailed it. So 6-3 overall for me. The AT&T Byron Nelson this week. TPC Craig Ranch the week before the PGA Championship, which is at Southern Hills. So week 4 major. Interesting turn.
When you looked this up online today, did it show a different format on your computer?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it showed it was a winner tab, a top 5 tab, and a top 10, top 20 tab.
And then I think there was even a top 40.
Yeah, but maybe we'll make changes to the picks at some point in golf. Maybe.
Yeah, like maybe once the NBA or NHL's over, get a couple.
Add a couple
bets
more.
Up there.
Yeah, I agree. We should do that for sure.
Yeah, well, I don't know about a top 41, but the top 20.
Yeah, maybe throw a couple top 5 and top 10s in there. Like add another to the mix there, or add another winner or something. So we'll talk about that at some point. Who you got?
To win, I have Justin Thomas plus 900, Spieth plus 1,800, and Tommy Fleetwood at plus 4,000.
I have Spieth plus 2,200, Koepka plus 3,500, and Taylor Gooch plus 4,500 to win.
Oh, so we have different things on Spieth then.
Maybe I wrote the number down wrong.
Top 5, I have Scotty Scheffler at plus 200, and top 10, Bubba Watson at plus 600.
I have Sam Burns plus 500 and Joaquin Niemann plus 330 there.
I just think Bubba Watson could get a top 10 this one. He got his swagger back a little bit at the what was the tournament 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. Jeez, I don't even know.
The Mexico, or no, 3 weeks. What's the 2-partner one?
Oh, the Zurich.
Yeah, I think he got a swagger back there, and I don't think he's played since.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then I just wrote an odd one in. This was his winning odds, was Dustin Johnson at plus 1,800. See what he does first tournament since the marriage.
Could win. He could win. We'll see. Major League Baseball for Wednesday.
The Diamondbacks minus 120 over the Marlins. Even though Alcantara's pitching, the Marlins offense just isn't there.
Yeah.
Rockies plus 1. I think it's 105, but I wrote 165. Could be different. Over the Giants. The Mets minus 180 over the Nationals. Rays plus 100 over the Angels. And the Red Sox plus 105 over the Braves.
I will take the White Sox minus 145 against the Guardians. The Mets minus 180 at the Nationals. Red Sox plus 105 against the Braves. Twins plus 100 against the Astros. And the Cardinals minus 225 against the Orioles after tonight's disaster.
And then I saw there was something about the White Sox. Somebody was coming back sooner. What was it? Jimenez.
Yeah.
Eloy Jimenez recovering faster than expected.
Huh.
Was expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks, suffering from a torn hamstring. So he's making quick strides in his recovery and is pain-free and has been running and swinging.
Interesting. Seems like a big development for them. Let's do the NBA and NHL. You could just do both here for tomorrow, Wednesday.
I have the Bucks plus 5.5 over the Celtics, and the Warriors minus 3.5 over the Grizzlies. And then I have the Penguins plus 110 to close out the Rangers, and the Stars plus 175 over Calgary.
I'll take the Bucks plus 5.5 at the Celtics, Warriors minus 3.5 at the Grizzlies. Then I'll take the Penguins as well, plus 110 to finish the Rangers off. And I'll take the Flames minus 220, series tied 2-2 against the Stars. All right. That's going to do it for us. Number 64 coming your way next week, previewing the PGA Championship and all the other things in sports. We'll see you next week for number 64.